Big day for the Hendrick Racing Stable. Up into turn number 6. Laps trickling away. On the counter, 111 of 119 complete. I think Earnhardt can get back into this one. Wow, is he wild up there at turn 6. Number 50, Al Unser, is off the track as he exited from the bridge area, almost directly across from us at the start-finish line. The number 50 car, the Dingman car, comes to rest. He tore up a tire and then some there.
Caution flag's out, Ken. Caution flag.
So the caution is out. This will bunch them up again. And let's see who's going to take the gamble on coming on pit road here.
The gamble that Junior Johnson took the last time appeared to be working because Darrell Waltrip was holding in 4th position.
That's all he needs to finish 2nd overall in the standings. Fire is beginning to develop on the back end of Unser's car number 50 across the way. Al has climbed out, the 3-time Indy champion of car number 50, the Dingman car. And they're sending a fire crew over there to him. He's in just about one of the most difficult positions to get to after you come down that long back straightaway. As you approach turn number 9, he's on the outside of the track. Couldn't get to the inside before smoke began to roll out of his car. Big plans for that team next year. Not sure who's going to be the driver, but for sure they are going to be serious about competing for the Winston Cup title in years to come. So we still have a few laps to go. We'll be back to see who wins it in just a moment.
The front-wheel drive Dodge Lancer is the performance sedan that will thrill you all the way to the red line, hold you to the dotted line, cover you down the line, and impress you with its bottom line. Dodge Lancer, with prices starting at $98.52, setting new standards of performance.
You really want to appreciate the Coors difference. Less heavy, easy drinking. Try spending some time doing this. Oh, yeah. Coors is the one.
Teach your children well. Their skill will tell how life will go by, and show them their own dreams. The one they'll pick is the one they'll know by. Teach them how to think. Teach them the things that they can live by, and show them how to grow, because they know how much they must try.
Nothing's more important than teaching children well. That's why more schools teach on Apple than any other computer.
So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you.
113 of 119 laps are complete. If it were to end right now with Richmond first, Bodine second, Earnhardt third, Waltrip fourth, then Waltrip would win second place in the Winston Cup point standings for 1986 by 11 points. He came into this race with a 21-point advantage over Tim Richmond in third. He sure doesn't need to lose another position here, but Joe Ruttman would like to help Tim Richmond all he could right now. Joe Ruttman is running in 5th, just behind Waltrip, and Bobby Allison is in 6th. Bobby Hillen is in 7th. Laps trickling away as we get down to the finish, and there's as much at stake now, in fact, as far as money's concerned, as Dave Despain pointed out at the top of the program. It's not just the $400,000 that's up for grabs here. You can figure it as $1 million if you want to talk about who goes into the plan winner's circle, plan 1, plan 1A. A couple of $1 million they've got to decide about here this afternoon, and some of it right here in these last few laps. Second place in particular, Waltrip has said, hey, you can't have first, go for second. On the other hand, in the old days, it was Bill Schindler that said second place, That's just losing. Chris?
Well, I was just talking to Rick Hendrick, who owns the cars driven by Jeff Bodine and Tim Richmond, and I said, Rick, if Bodine passes Richmond and puts that $200,000 in jeopardy, would you put a hold on Bodine? He said, no, I don't care what it costs. They just have to race.
Well, that's the attitude that you expect. That is not the attitude that you'll hear in Formula One, where they're under contract, and you pretty much know at the start of the race who is to be first and who is to be second if it comes down to that kind of thing. 1 lap to green is the report that's now being given us. Indeed, that's it. Let's go to the STP Pit Center. Dave Despain.
Ken, as we watch these guys battle at way over 100 miles an hour for hundreds of thousands of dollars, quick memory. 1958, first Grand National race here. They ran it backwards. It took 6 hours and 17 minutes for Eddie Gray to win the race. The guy who finished 12th was Jack Rounds. He borrowed his girlfriend's car, 57 Chevy, brought it out here, finished 12th, and they drove it home with $150 in their pocket.
I wonder if they're still married. Probably. Was she there to see the car race that day, David?
Yeah, she was the crew.
She was the crew chief. I see. Gee, I don't know how it got a ding in the fender there, my dear. Getting set for the start. On the restart, Tim Richmond first. Coming up next, the NEA special. Whose school is it? A WTBS special next on the Superstation today. If Ruttman passes Waltrip, Darrell Waltrip's margin slips to just 1 point, by which he would take second place from Tim Richmond.
We have to realize that both Joe Ruttman and Bobby Allison in 5th and 6th have fresher tires than Darrell Waltrip.
And that could happen. They could put him down. There's the green out, and here we are settling down for the finish of the Winston Western 500 here in California this afternoon.
I think Jeff Bodine will try to beat Tim Richmond in turn 9 if at all possible.
Well, this is where he's got to do it, right here. Down they come. 114 laps complete. Here comes Bodine looking for any kind of margin by which he could move around the 25. It's not to be on the inside. You have to hang the whole car down in the dirt as they come off the corner. Up to the inside, little lower line for Dale Earnhardt. And as they come back to the line, Earnhardt stays 3rd, Waltrip 4th, Ruttman 5th, Allison 6th, Bobby Hillin in 7th. Back they go, up through the S's. Richmond trying to stay out in front to win his 11th Winston Cup race in his career.
He's using the whole racetrack.
Oh, is he
looks
ever?
like he's qualifying again.
Bouncing off the curves, ricocheting around the racetrack. Here comes Earnhardt making a move on number 5, Bodine. Tremendous battle for second place. Sitting there watching it all, just licking his chops for second in the standings is Darrell Waltrip. There's that number 11 car just behind the number 3 of Dale Earnhardt. We're watching it live on the Superstation, WTBS. Getting further back in the field. 10th is Kenny Schrader right now. 11th, Labonte. 12th is Mark Martin. 13th, Richard Petty. 14th is Bill Schmidt. 15th is Kyle Petty. Glenn Struer from the West Coast is running in 16th position. In front, Tim Richmond trying to draw away from Jeff Bodine.
He has, Ken. He's got about a 10-car length lead on Bodine now.
Next year, Richmond, Bodine, Waltrip. 1st, 2nd, and 4th in this race. All drive for Rick Hendrick. How do you think it's going to work with all 3 of those guys pretty much under the same colors?
I think you're going to see just like today, like Rick Hendrick said, Ken. Whatever happens on the racetrack happens.
There'll be a lot of pressure among those 3 that they'll generate among themselves.
Just 3 laps to go.
Rusty Wallace is in 8th. Neil Bonnet in 9th. There you see Waltrip in the 11 car, and there's Joe Ruttman tagging right along. Great finish. Remember that Joe Ruttman had a second place here back in '81. He'd like to move up a little this afternoon. And it's not just that he wants to take Ruttman or take Waltrip down in the points. This is as good a run as he has had.
It sure is. Ruttman has driven an excellent race. I think the thing is about that caution flag that it allowed Darrell Waltrip's tires to cool. So now he is more equal on tires with the rest of the fellas that pitted on that last caution flag.
Well, as the laps go away here, however, his tires will go away faster than the others.
They should.
Let's see what happens.
But Riverside at times is a hard track to pass on, so he might be able to hold them on.
As we get down to the finish this afternoon, 116 of 119 laps are complete. Waltrip falls a bit further back from those leaders, and Richmond extends car number 25 out in front.
I I think Tim Richmond is qualifying every lap, and he is running these last few laps just absolutely as hard as he can.
He certainly is fun to watch. There is a different style to Tim Richmond than any other driver out here these days, but it's probably closest in the way he just deliberately thrashes that car to a lot of the variant Dale Earnhardt thing. If it's got it, if the car can stand it, use every bit that it has.
Here comes Richmond up through the S's. That's been his piece of cake all weekend. He really knows how to straighten out those corners. And here comes Earnhardt. This is where he's gobbling up Bodine. Look at him close in right here. They get out on that long backstretch. Earnhardt doesn't have the dig down the backstretch to make a move on Bodine. But boy, is he eating him up right through here. A couple of laps ago, we saw him get in there and they made contact. Here he's inside again. They come down to turn 8. This is the last tight corner. And then you'll see that long charge down the backstretch. The pattern the last couple of laps has been that Bodine is able to pull away there. And as you mentioned, Bill, it's a tough racetrack to pass on. Earnhardt's only got a couple of laps left if he's going to get Bodine. Looks like this is where Bodine has the strength, right here.
Well, I think you're right, Dave. Earnhardt's within a car length, but he cannot do anything with Bodine on the backstretch.
Let's see what he'll do in turn number 9 this time. Earnhardt has been getting in very strong each lap. And as these laps come down to the very last moments of the 1986 season, Tim Richmond, who turned it all around midway through and just kept on winning races, seems to be on his way to victory here, the 7th of the season. 1 lap to go. When they come by this time, Harold Kinder drops the white. Whoa! Wild, loose for a moment is number 5, and here comes Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt running Bodine wheel to wheel. Now who's going to give? It is Earnhardt taking that 2nd position away from Jeff Bodine. Magnificent move off turn number 9 as they continue to thrash him around.
Earnhardt got up beside him off of turn 9 and held him even through turn 1 and just beat him down into turn 2.
And look at him pull away. Just flying away now from Jeff Bodine. The only place he seems shy on power was in that long back straightaway. There he was hurting. Everywhere else he has it covered. It'll be interesting to see what Bodine does as they come down for the finish.
He's got Darrell Waltrip to worry about now. Darrell Waltrip is riding his back bumper.
I almost wonder if something's gone away on car number 5. Here it is. The last time down the straightaway. Richmond in front. There is that Bodine car, followed by Waltrip in the 4th position. Waltrip looks like he's on his way into that 2nd place in the standings. The last time into turn number 9. Tim Richmond there. Dale Earnhardt 2nd. Jeff Bodine in 3rd. Darrell Waltrip in 4th. But Tim Richmond riding just an incredible finish to this 1986 season. He's coming on to win it. It won't be enough to give him 2nd place in the standings, but it certainly will help his pocketbook. To the line. Across for the checkers. Tim Richmond victorious. In 2nd, Dale Earnhardt. 3rd is Jeff Bodine. 4th, Darrell Waltrip. And 5th, Joe Ruttman this afternoon. The 6th position to Bobby Allison. And finishing in 7th, Bobby Hillin. That should be enough, and there may be a change in that. Bobby Hillin may go up to 6th position.
Bobby Hillin passed his teammate Bobby Allison going in turn 9 in the last lap.
There's Tim Richmond, your winner. We'll get an opportunity to meet with him in just a moment in victory lane after this thundering victory for the Hendrick Racing Stable. Hill enough to congratulate the champion. You'll meet him soon.
When all the elements came together. Design, engineering, and technology. Unleashing a superbly equipped new breed of compact car. Dodge Shadow. With its 550 protection plan, 2- or 4-door availability, affordable price, the new Dodge Shadow is going to cast a giant shadow across America. Dodge setting new standards of performance.
This is the Fuller family. The Fullers have just filled full with 4 fried foods. And this is the fullest the Fullers have ever felt, folks. Alka-Seltzer to the rescue. Alka-Seltzer fights your acid indigestion and fixes your headache in a flash. Send Alka-Seltzer to the rescue and feel your finest fast.
Alka-Seltzer to the rescue.
Also try fresh taste of lemon lime.
The 1986 Winston Cup Stock Car Championship season is over. Its most successful driver is Tim Richmond, and he closed this year with a bang. In terms of race victories, this is the guy who won more races this year than anybody else. His 7th win of the year, and as a record crowd files out, here is the man they are saluting. And Richmond did it in magnificent fashion here this afternoon as he came to this racetrack, turned that spectacular qualifying lap, shattered the all-time lap record at this historic 30-year-old facility, charged to the front of the field, fell to the back with a broken suspension, came back and won the race. And right behind him, the man who is champion, Dale Earnhardt. Richmond is headed for victory lane now. We'll be joining him there in a moment and find out a bit about all that late race bumping and banging and all that spectacular action. Find out what was the key to this 7th win of the year for Richmond. Great performance today for Earnhardt as he fell deep into the field, got a lap down, battled back, put on that spectacular move that carried him into 2nd place in the race. And, of course, his championship is long since on ice. And for all of those people that you see down there, boy, what a day this is. It all started back in February at Daytona, and through 29 long races, they have done their thing, and now, at last, they get to relax. Ken?
Let's take a look at the standings this afternoon as they finish up this race. Tim Richmond, with this marvelous display of road racing ability, defeats Dale Earnhardt. I still think Earnhardt's going to be the guy they've got to beat for the championship next year. They just seem to get stronger and stronger, Phil.
I think so too, Ken. But, you know, the second half of the year Richmond had, though, he's going to be tough, as will Waltrip and Bodine. So it should be a tremendous battle next year.
And Bodine finished in 3rd. Waltrip has a new team with his friend Waddell Wilson. They've come across 4th in this afternoon's race. The Waltrip Junior Johnson team, and I think it's got to be a little dramatic down there right now as Darrell climbs out of car number 11 for the final time.
Well, I'm sure it is. They won 3 championships together, but second place isn't too bad. They managed to hold on to second, even though Tim Richmond won the race, so they have nothing to be ashamed of.
Joe Ruttman had a great day for Kenny Bernstein. He brings his car home in 5th place. And Bobby Hill, in that last lap move on Allison, gave him 6th position. Bobby relegated to 7th. Rusty Wallace in 8th. Neil Bonnet in 9th. And Terry Labonte finishes up the afternoon in 10th. It looked like Al Unser was in there for 10th for sure, but that was not to be, as they had trouble with that car. You saw it smoking here just across from the start-finish line. We're going to be meeting Tim Richmond very shortly after his wonderful win again today. There were 14 lead changes this afternoon. 8 drivers were involved, 7 cautions for a total of 18 laps. Let's go down to Chris Economaki right now.
Well, Tim Richmond is just out of the car getting the cheers from the crowd. Win number 7. They've got a sign for him here. He's a happy soul. Hey, Tim, congratulations. What a way to wind up the season. What is all this on the side of the car, these marks here and everything? Who did all that?
I don't know. I just noticed it as it came out. Benny Parsons and I messed up. It was my fault, and Benny and I, as I was coming out of the pits, got together. I think that might be where it came from, but I want to say hi to my sister Sandy back in Ashland, Ohio, and my dad Al, and everybody back there. I wish you would have been here.
Oh, it was a great, great race. You know, you fell way back. What was the trouble with the car during that blue period of the race for you?
Well, actually, we're just catching up, not wanting to ruin it. You know, we didn't want to wear the poor thing out. We just wanted to be able to have a car at the end to be able to race, and plus I was getting a little blister on my hand.
You got some blisters there. Okay, now they tell me you're going to change your lifestyle. What are you going to do now that the season is over?
Well, right now we're moving out to Hollywood or somewhere out here in L.A. and take some acting classes and do a little public relations work and kind of rest up out in L.A. now.
See you next year.
I'll be here, Chris.
Okay, back to you, Ken Squire.
We'll be back with more from Riverside in just a moment.
Here comes 12,000.
Richard Petty talks about his all-time driving headaches.
Buckingham, 65. Now, that was a goodie. Bristol, 74. That was another goodie. Daytona, 82. That was definitely a goodie. I've won over 200 races, but I've had over 700 headaches. So just take it from me. Goodies gets rid of the pain fast, and that's what counts.
Goodies headache powders and extra strength tablets.
Winners run with champion. America's best on the racetracks of the country. From the east out to the west. Winners run with champion. They run with America's best.
No other spark plug has sparked more NASCAR victories than America's best spark plug, Champion.
Winners run with champion. America's best.
Following the Western 500, are your kids getting the best education possible? Hattie Duke.
True value hard charger for the season, Dale Earnhardt. For the day, Jeff Bodine. This will all be sorted out later. Champion spark plug racers of the race. One name nomination, guys, quickly. Ken Squire?
I'll go with Joe Ruttman.
Phil Parsons?
I got to go with Joe Ruttman.
2 for Ruttman. Pit reporters, Jerry Garrett.
I'll go with Herschel McGriff.
Chris Economaki.
I like Dale Earnhardt.
I like Dale Earnhardt, too. I get to vote last. Dale Earnhardt, the champ, is also the racer of the race. Ken?
Well, at 101 miles per hour, it was all decided today in favor of Tim Richmond over 24 other cars still running at the finish. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you back here in 1987 on the Superstation WTBS. For Dave Despain, Chris Economaki, Jerry Garrett, Bob Barcia, Phil Parsons, I'm Ken Squires. Our congratulations to Tim Richmond.
Sports presentation of the Winston Western 500 has been brought to you by Dodge, setting new standards.